All right, welcome back, guys. We have the fantasy edition of the Jock Talk Show, week 11 already. Kind of hard to believe that that it's here. We haven't seen much snow up in Wisconsin, a little bit here and there.
I can tell you, I have yet to see snow. Frost on the windshield the last couple
oh
mornings.
no,
Had to
no.
scrape it off.
Oh goodness,
I,
I'm so sorry.
yeah.
It was
It's like
it was
34 degrees last night.
it was 60 here today actually, so it was
Yeah,
pretty nice. It
yeah.
was pretty nice. But if you guys haven't already, check out our Packers Week 11 preview against the Indianapolis Colts. You can check it out on YouTube. Link will be posted on the Twitter page at Jock Talk Show. And if you haven't already, check out the top 5 over on the Facebook machine, the segment that's sweeping America, as we all know. But let's get into it. As normal, we'll have the fantasy 6-pack for you guys. It'll be 3 players each that me and Brock are targeting in DFS, or we're making sure for sure are in our fantasy lineups. Next week, we'll have something new coming for you guys. We'll have our targets and our fades. So, guys, you should target. Guys, you should stay away from. Name's pretty easy to understand what we're trying to get at here. And then, as always, we're going to have our 2 locks and our upset of the week for you guys. So make sure to take a listen, share with your friends, like, subscribe on YouTube. Come interact with us on Twitter. We love nothing more than responding to questions and getting people involved in the show. So with that being said, Brock, we're going to hop right into it. Fantasy 6-pack time. Guys that we are targeting in DFS or season-long fantasy football. I'm going to kick it off. Seems pretty obvious, but he's a mid-range guy. It's a guy that me and you want nothing more than for him to be in the green and the gold instead of the purple and the gold. Mm-hmm. I'm going with Justin Jefferson, wide receiver, Minnesota Vikings. They are going up against the Dallas Cowboys this week.
Hey, apparently the Dallas Cowboys got a little pep in their step, according to Mike McCarthy. So if the Vikings lose, it's a good day. Don't get me wrong. But I think Justin Jefferson, he's been outstanding for the Vikings. Thielen's getting the touchdowns.
Yeah.
More of the touchdowns. But, Justin Jefferson for a rookie coming in and making that impact, just pretty much saying Stephon Diggs, who? You replaced him with a younger, faster, driven guy on a cheaper contract.
That's right.
But my first pick, I'm going Terry McLaurin versus the Bengals. Again, he is a heavy target guy, big on the PPR against that Cincinnati defense, who has kind of been not great. Washington's passed the ball a lot the last few weeks. Alex Smith has spread out the ball
55 times last week.
Yeah. So, Terry McLaurin, honestly, I don't know who else is there. You got Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick, and then who else? So Terry McLaurin, I could see having a monster game this week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good pick. I have Terry McLaurin in our Friends FanDuel competition actually for this week. So my number 2, sticking with that same game, Dallas and Minnesota. You hear all people for some reason aren't targeting Minnesota through the air as much as they should. Part of it's because Minnesota's been actually playing well recently with Dalvin Cook entering the MVP race potentially. So my number 2, I am going with CeeDee Lamb. I think it's going to be a rookie receiver bonanza this week in that game. I think Andy Dalton should hopefully be back. If Andy Dalton doesn't play, I may cop out and switch this pick, so you have to stay tuned and find out. But CeeDee Lamb for right now is my number 2.
My number 2, I'm going another high target guy, especially the last 3 games. Jacoby Myers for the Patriots. He's playing Houston. Houston hasn't been able to cover anybody. Jacoby Myers has 31 targets the last 3 games, so I think it could be another big game for him. Cam seems to have a lot of confidence in him, and so does Belichick, running many plays for him. And who knows? He could have another passing touchdown. He showed off his arm last week. It was a pretty good ball while he got hit. So I think he's proven his value to Belichick, and we all know what happens when you do that. You will get your number called over and over and over again.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, it's not a high volume pass offense, obviously, but
No.
like you said, you can't, when you have a without a doubt number one receiver like Washington has with Terry McLaurin, excuse me, and like the Patriots have with Jacoby Myers, and like you said, Bill Belichick, he's peppering him with targets, and Cam Newton, the guy actually throwing him the ball, is peppering him with targets. It's kind of reminiscent of what Tom Brady did with Julian Edelman all those years. So definitely a good pick. My number 3, giving the tight end some love, I'm going with, as of right now, who I believe without a doubt is the best tight end in the NFL, Travis Kelce. The last time the Chiefs played the Raiders, he had 12 targets, over 100 yards, and a touchdown. He's been getting peppered with targets basically every game this year, except for when they played Denver and they scored 175 points without giving him a bunch of targets somehow. But like I said, I think Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the NFL. He's the best receiving tight end in the NFL. Yeah. At the very least, if you get those people who will fight for not Dallas Goedert, excuse me. You get those people who will fight for George Kittle in there as the best all-around tight end. But at the very least, Jesus Christ, Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the NFL. He is my third fantasy stud of the week.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think he has probably the strongest hands and arms in the league, probably, or at least in the tight end position. I mean, he always holds
that one.
He always holds the ball out. Wherever he catches it, it's always like this. You're not hitting it out. So I definitely agree with that. My third pick, Matt does not agree with me on this one, but it's all right because he's playing the Jets. Does it really matter? Kalen Ballage. He obviously has not had a great career. But like I said, he's playing the Jets. I mean, are the Jets very good at anything? I'll tell you one thing they are good at. They are good at losing. And the Miami Dolphins defense, they're showing that they are hungry. They are all over the field. They're blitzing from which angle. I think we'll give the Jets a lot of.
Kalen Ballage plays for the Chargers, bud.
Christ. Well, shit.
I know it's the Jets are good at losing.
Yeah, and I'm bad at.
We'll see.
Great.
We'll see. That's all right.
Great.
It happens.
But no, I mean,
he did play for. I think he got caught up because he played for the Dolphins, and he was one of the worst running backs of all time statistically. Which is why
But anyways,
moving on.
Yeah, that's a fumble.
Hey, sports reference, I get it. Anyways, that is the fantasy 6-pack for you guys. The Los Angeles Chargers primary running back Kalen Ballage against the New York Jets. But moving on, we have our locks and upset segment for you guys. Speaking of lock, my number 1, the Dolphins over the Drew Lock led Denver Broncos. Dylan, I'm sorry, you have Drew Lock as your quarterback, and you really don't have anything else going for you. So
Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah. Doesn't matter when Drew Lock's throwing the ball 10 yards out of bounds. So I think Miami keeps on going on a roll. I think, knowing my luck, this is going to be the week where Miami sharts the bed and finally gets off this roll they've been on. So my number 1 lock is the Dolphins over the Broncos.
Well, you don't need to pass it over here to me because I have the same exact pick. Dolphins over Broncos. It's actually the Dolphins. They're not playing the Jets this week.
That's right.
So. Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. I don't think the Broncos have much of a chance this week.
No. Number 2, and I'll just go ahead and say, so the Washington football team, I think, is going to beat Cincinnati. The football team has a pretty good defense. Alex Smith had to chuck it 55 times last week. Cincinnati they looked good-ish on offense against the T. Higgins at least looked good against the Steelers last week. So that's the one thing that kind of concerns me a little bit. But news came out today that the Washington football team is highly considering leaving their name as the Washington football team. That would be the worst idea I've ever heard.
I did not see that. That's ridiculous. Like, what?
You can pay me to make better decisions than that if they want. Like,
yeah. Like, what is? How do you sell that? Football team.
They're drinking a little bit too much, or I hit a little bit of the Colombian whites before making it.
Apparently, my number 2 pick, I'm going Ravens over Titans. Ravens haven't played their best football yet. They played all right from time to time. I mean, but they're just something's not right. But I think this could be a revenge game for them. One from losing a game, losing to the Patriots last week, and then what happened to them in the playoffs last year. So I could see Lamar being Lamar. I think Harbaugh lets Lamar just run, just designed run to the outside. I mean, more than usual, or just rollouts, just run. Who cares? Yeah. Just let Lamar take over the game. I could see that happening against that Tennessee defense, which is good. Don't get me wrong. Tennessee's a good team. I think it could be one of the best games of the year.
We're going to go a little bit out of order. Upset first.
My upset.
You're upset.
See? Yeah, I know why you did this, because Kalen Balaj is going to play for the is going to play for the losing team. Going to play for the losing team. I have the Jets getting their first W, so maybe they aren't as good as I said, or that Justin Herbert cut his hair and now it looks like he wants to go, into a school and terrorize some people.
He looks 13 instead of 14 now.
Yeah, so I think maybe he cut his hair, lost his magic powers, and now the Jets get their first W. Watch it be like a 45-44 game.
If the Jets score 45 points, I don't know what I will do. I will rethink everything I've ever known about the sport of football, I guess. But my upset of the week, Brock, you've said that this is going to be a win. One of your teams. I'm going on the opposite side. The Baltimore Ravens will lose to the Tennessee Titans. My main concern is, whose career will Derrick Henry ruin this time? He stiff-armed Earl Thomas into threesomes with his brother and his wife, gets nearly shot by his ex-wife or wife. Derrick Henry just put that man into a place where no one deserves to be. So, Derrick Henry is gonna, yeah, that too. I think Josh Norman went out and got COVID just because Derrick Henry made him a meme. So, I think Derrick Henry goes off. Lamar Jackson has not been MVP Lamar Jackson. He's been okay, but he hasn't taken that step forward. Hollywood Brown has been a total, not even no-show. It's not even his fault, but they can't get him the ball. They can't utilize his speed. Todd McShay said all last year during the draft process that he is the fastest in-game speed player he had ever seen at the collegiate level, and they are just blowing it basically.
Like I've had him in a fantasy before, and it's just like he's not doing anything. He gets
two targets, 6 yards.
Yeah, they try to get him out in space, but it's not really space. It's just clustered, and he can't. When he has to go sideline to sideline, he's not great. But when he can go north and south, he's a terror to be seen on that field.
Absolutely. And the Ravens gave up a ton of rushing yards last week. And they have, one of, if not the best running back in the NFL going this week. I think the Titans win by at least a full touchdown this week. So, we got anything else, Brock?
I don't think so.
All right. So with that being said, like I said, if you haven't checked out the other videos from Week 11, go check them out on Facebook. Check them out on Twitter, both at Jock Talk Show. Go like and subscribe on Facebook. And if you guys need your fantasy advice, you know where to find us. Deuces. You can cut that one out.